And we are live. Welcome to the show today, ladies and gentlemen. Today I'm going to be talking about my Notre Dame football record prediction, and I'm going to give you my ACC standings. Let's get right to it. Here's the Notre Dame football schedule. Week 1, they play Navy. I think they beat Navy. Week 2, they play Tennessee State at home. And I think they beat Tennessee State. So they start the season 2-0. Then they go to NC State, and I think they will win that game. And then week number 4, they play Central Michigan at home, and I think they also win that game as well. And then week 5 is a big game. They play Ohio State at home. And unfortunately, this is where I think they take their first loss of the season. And then I also think they lose to USC, which makes them 4-2 going into the game against Pittsburgh. I think they beat Pitt. And here's why. I watched Pittsburgh game, and Pitt doesn't enthuse me at all with any of their quarterbacks, whoever their starting quarterback is going to be. So I think Notre Dame beats them and beats them handedly. And they go into their bye week 5-2. They come out of their bye week and they play Wake Forest at home. And I think they beat Wake Forest, which makes them 6-2. And then they go to Duke. And I think they beat Duke, which makes them 7-2. NC State. Yeah, 7-2. And they go into their second bye week, 7-2. They come out and they play at Louisville week 12. And I think they beat Louisville, which makes them 8-2. And then they go to Clemson. And unfortunately, this is where they take their third loss of the year. So they're now 8-3. And they play Stanford the last week of the season. And I think they end up winning that game as well. So they finish the regular season 9-3. And they make a bowl game. Now the next segment I'm going to give you today is my preseason ACC Coastal Division standings from 7-1. I have, starting at number 7, I have Virginia Tech. And the reason I have Va-Tech here is because they don't have I don't know much about them. I've seen parts of their spring game, like I have most teams, and I just don't see where they're gonna win games. They're not gonna lose every game. They will win some games this year. I don't know how many, but I have them at 7 because I don't think they're going to win more than 6 games. At number 6, I have, much to everyone's surprise probably, I have Georgia Tech. And the reason I have Georgia Tech here is because I think they're going to be a little bit better than people are giving them credit for because they got a new head coach now. They're not going to win the ACC. That's going to take a couple years. But I think they compete and win 6, 7, maybe 6 games, maybe 7 games this year. and finish 5 or 6 in the ACC Coastal Division. At number 5 in the ACC Coastal Division, I've got Virginia. And I have them here because I think they're going to play inspired football after what happened in last season with that tragic shooting. But I don't see them being higher than the teams I have in front of them, obviously, as you can see where I have them. But I do think they win at least 7 games. 7-5, 6-6 puts them around 5 or 4 or 5 in the rankings at the end of the season, maybe for me, in the ACC Coastal. Moving on, number 4, I've got Duke. And yes, y'all may look at me and say, "Oh, Alex, crazy. He's got Duke at number 4 in the ACC Coastal." There's a reason why. I think they're going to be good. They were good last year, and then they fell off at the end of the season. I think they're going to be good again. They're not going to win the ACC Coastal, but they will compete and maybe make the conference championship game. Outside shot, I doubt it, but I don't see it happening. At number 3 in the ACC Coastal, I've got Miami, Florida. And I like them this year. Tyler Van Dyke is returning, and he will be the starting quarterback for Miami. And that's all I have to say on them. Kept it short and sweet there. Number 2, I've got Pittsburgh. I know I have them losing to Notre Dame, but I still think they can win finish second or win the ACC Coastal Division. And I've heard from people, from friends, that this is the last year they're doing divisions in the ACC. Going into next year, there will be no conference, no divisions. It'll be the top 2 teams make the conference championship game. But back to this year. So I have Pitt finishing here. I know there are uncertainties at quarterback, but they have a veteran head coach in Pat Narduzzi. And I just don't see Pitt finishing outside the top 3 of the ACC Coastal. And drum roll, please, at number 1 in my preseason rankings for the ACC Coastal. The ACC Coastal champ will be North Carolina. And I'll give you 2 reasons. 2 reasons why I think North Carolina is going to win the ACC Coastal Division. 1 is because of their quarterback, Drake May. Kid's freaking electric. He could have won the Heisman last year if it wasn't for Caleb Williams. I think he'll give Caleb Williams a run for his money this year in the ACC, in the Heisman race. And just a little teaser for a look ahead to another episode. I may have Drake May in my preseason Heisman watch list. You never know. You just have to wait for that episode. You never know. You might see him in there, you might not. But back to the other reason I have North Carolina here is because of Mac Brown, Mac Brown. What a coach. He's a great freaking coach. He knows how to recruit. And that's all I got to say in North Carolina. Now we get to the ACC Atlantic Division. And here's my preseason ACC Atlantic Division standings. Starting at number 7 with Louisville. I like their coach, but they don't enthuse me at all with any of their guys. They lost Malik Cunningham. They lost a bunch of guys, either to the draft or graduation. And that's why I have Louisville at 7. At 6, I have Syracuse. This is a big year for Dino Babers. If Dino Babers doesn't do good this year, I think he's on the chopping block and gets fired, and they hire somebody else. At number 5, and this is going to surprise people, I have Boston College. I just think Boston College is going to be better this year. I know last year they were terrible. The last 3 years they've been bad. But I just think Boston College is going to be good. I don't think they'll win the ACC, but I think they will be way more competitive than people think this year. At number 4, I did this before I realized there was no more divisions in the ACC. That's on me. If I have to redo this before the season, I will. Anyway, I just think Boston College is going to be better than they were last year. Wake Forest, new QB. I don't see them finishing inside the top 3 of the ACC this year. North Carolina State, I don't think wins the ACC, but I think they finish as one of the top 3 teams in the ACC. Clemson, I don't know what to say about Clemson. I don't want to doubt Dabo because I know what he's capable of recruiting. But the team I have winning the ACC this year is Florida State and Jordan Travis and Mike Norvell. I can see Florida State also making the playoff. And hold up. And that's going to do it for the early episode of my show today. I have 2 more coming up later on. Please join. Thank you. Have a good day.